It started with a single, desperate touch. In a crowded restaurant filled with the clinking of wine glasses and murmurs of laughter, a rich CEO named Evelyn Carter reached out, not out of love, but panic. Her ex-fiancé had just walked in, the man who'd once broken her heart and humiliated her in front of an entire boardroom. She didn't think, she just reacted. Her hand shot out and grabbed the nearest one she could find. It belonged to Marcus Hale, a tall, quiet black man sitting alone at the next table, dressed simply but with a presence that made people look twice. Evelyn's fingers tightened around his hand as she whispered through a forced smile, "Please, just play along." He didn't move, didn't even flinch, just looked at her with calm, steady eyes, the kind of eyes that could see through the layers people spent years building. Then, slowly, he nodded. In that moment, that single, accidental moment, would turn both their lives upside down. Before I take you into this mind-twisting story of love, pride, and redemption, make sure to subscribe to the channel because stories like this will make you see people and life differently. Evelyn was the kind of woman who made silence follow her into a room. At 31, she was one of the youngest CEOs in New York's fashion world. Sharp, calculated, always in control. Or at least that's what the world saw. Marcus, on the other hand, worked maintenance for the same company, unseen, unnoticed. He repaired the very elevators Evelyn rode every morning. But that night, fate sat them just a few feet apart. When Evelyn's ex, Richard, walked toward her table with that smug grin she'd once mistaken for charm, Marcus instinctively straightened. Evelyn's grip on his hand didn't loosen. "This your new man?" Richard smirked. Marcus tilted his head. "Problem with that?" There was a silence, sharp enough to cut. Evelyn's heart hammered. For the first time in years, she felt someone defending her without an agenda. Richard scoffed and walked off, humiliated. Evelyn exhaled, releasing Marcus's hand. "Thank you. That was unexpected." He smiled faintly. "Sometimes the unexpected is what we need most." The next morning, she saw him again. Not in a restaurant, not under dim light, but in her office hallway, toolbox in hand. Evelyn froze. She didn't expect her fake date to also be the man fixing her ceiling lights. He just nodded politely. "Good morning, Miss Carter." Something inside her twisted. She'd been surrounded by polished suits and fake smiles her whole career. But this man, this janitor, carried a quiet kind of dignity that didn't need to be announced. Over the next few days, she found herself noticing him. The way he hummed softly while working. The way he greeted the receptionist like she mattered. The way he smiled, not the polished corporate smile she'd mastered, but something real. Then one afternoon, Evelyn's world tilted. Her company faced a scandal, leaked photos, manipulated headlines, a PR disaster. Investors began to pull out. She stood alone in her office, holding her phone, feeling everything she built crumble beneath her. That's when Marcus walked in, there to fix a flickering light. He stopped when he saw her trembling. "Are you okay?" She wanted to say yes. Instead, she broke. For the first time, the unshakable CEO cried. And Marcus didn't say a word, just handed her his handkerchief and stood beside her in silence. No judgment, no pity, just presence. Days turned into weeks. Evelyn started talking to him more, about life, regrets, dreams she never admitted aloud. Marcus listened like every word mattered. He once told her, "Some people build walls so high they forget what the sky looks like." That line stuck with her, because she'd spent years building walls around her career, her heart, her past. But Marcus, he didn't climb them. He waited until she opened the gate herself. One rainy night, after a charity gala, Evelyn offered him a ride home. The car was silent except for the hum of rain. Then she asked softly, "Why did you help me that night? You didn't even know me." Marcus smiled faintly. "Because you look like someone who hadn't been saved in a long time." Her chest tightened. She looked away, blinking fast. But just as something real began to grow, the world reminded them who they were, or rather, who society thought they were. Rumors started at the company, whispers in elevators, the CEO, and the janitor. People laughed behind her back, investors questioned her judgment, and the board threatened to remove her. Evelyn, torn between reputation and emotion, made a choice she would soon regret. She told Marcus it had to end. He didn't fight, didn't plead, just nodded with quiet pain in his eyes. I understand. You built your world on silence. I won't be the one to break it. He left, and her world, for all its wealth and power, suddenly felt empty. Weeks later, Evelyn got news she couldn't process. Marcus had been injured on site, saving a young intern from falling scaffolding. She rushed to the hospital, heels echoing in sterile halls, heart pounding like thunder. He was awake, bruised, but alive. When their eyes met, she broke down again, but this time not from pain, from realization. She whispered, I was so scared to lose everything that I forgot what was worth keeping. Marcus smiled weakly. Then maybe now you remember. Months passed. Evelyn resigned from her CEO position, not out of defeat, but freedom. She started a new venture, one that hired overlooked workers, trained them, empowered them. And Marcus became her partner, both in business and in life. They never made a grand announcement. No posts, no headlines. Just two people who found peace in each other after chaos. One evening, Evelyn asked him, Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't grabbed your hand that night? Marcus smiled. You didn't grab my hand, Evelyn. You grabbed your destiny. And that's how a single moment, born out of fear, turned into a story about courage, redemption, and love that defied every label. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because sometimes the stories that change us most start with a touch we never expected.